As we've seen over the course of this week, the future of logistics is packed with opportunity, from cutting-edge tech to sustainability to global careers that didn't exist a decade ago. But with so many routes in, where do you start? Today, as promised for Future Friday, we're going to talk to Zara, a careers expert in the logistics sector. She's going to guide you through the skills that matter, the roles that are rising, and how you can future-proof your career in one of the world's most essential and evolving sectors. We're also going to share some thoughts from Shoshana, the fairy job mother, who you can follow on socials for more hints and tips for your future career. Let's meet Shoshana first.
I'm Shoshana, founder of Fairy Job Mother, an online community which helps young people build their confidence and progress in their careers. Here are 3 things I wish I'd known sooner in my career. Number 1, keep track of all your achievements. The results you've achieved and numbers you've generated will be your biggest selling point when positioning yourself for a new job or promotion. Number 2, never stop learning. The world is changing at an unprecedented rate right now. It's so important to keep learning and upskilling and not stay complacent, or you'll get left behind. Number 3, know the sector you are looking to get into. Many industries seem a lot more glamorous when they actually are, so it's really important to do research on pay, salary progression, and if they'll still be around in the next 5 to 10 years. One sector that is experiencing steady growth and has great pay and progression opportunities is logistics.
Okay, now over to Zara. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about you. How did you get into supporting careers in logistics?
Hi, well, big boots, you said expert. I don't know if I'm an expert. But yeah, so I got into helping students with their employability by first working at Aston University, where I looked after the engineering students, which was quite nice because I went to Aston University and I was one of their engineering students. But when I was doing my degree, I did a year-long placement at Microsoft. It was a bit of a geeky, techie one, so I helped the team that did the operating system for mobile phones, which were then run by Windows. So I absolutely loved that. It was the best year of my life, even though my husband hates me saying that, but it was an absolutely amazing year. I had my first time living away from parents, had to learn how to live with housemates. I lived with loads of boys, so it was really, really messy. But still, it was an amazing experience. I absolutely loved it. And I always just wanted to be able to help students get a similar year where they can gain so much knowledge and just have a wonderful experience. So when I graduated, I then worked at Aston University, worked in their careers and placements team, and did that for a number of years. And then I moved to the University College Birmingham, where I helped slightly younger students then, so they were 16 to 18, and I helped them get part-time work. So yeah, a few years, or quite a lot of years experience working with young people, and really just helping them like achieve their dream jobs, because that's what makes me happy, like helping other people like get their goals in place. So it's really, really nice and really rewarding.
That is what it's all about. And we've got lots of people in that age bracket watching at the moment. And of course, the younger people as well, already starting to take their career seriously, which is lovely to see. So lots of work with universities, which is the role that you currently have at the moment as well at the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. Tell us a little bit more about what you do now.
So now I run, I'm the Novus program manager, and the Novus program is basically a program to help young people, again, achieve their career goals. So I currently work with 12 universities across the UK. So we've got like Cardiff all the way up to like Northumbria University in Newcastle. We've got College at Middlesex or University. So we've got them all over the UK, and I'm also looking to expand that as well. So hopefully we'll have a university close enough to all of the students that want to do a degree, which will then help them get into logistics and supply chain. But then I also work with sponsors. So I'm currently working with 15 sponsors, again, based across the UK, but even the world. So some of the bigger brands would be DHL, we've got Arla and Muller. So if you like milk and yogurt, you've probably heard of the last two.
All the milk comes from one of those two companies. Yeah,
we're covering the milk. So yeah, working with those sponsors and then helping the students. So I help the sponsors advertise their roles. So we have exclusive summer roles, year-long and graduate roles. They then get advertised to our students, and I help the students become as employable as they can be through helping them with mock interviews. I can check their applications, check their CVs, and I help prepare them for assessment centres and all that good stuff.
And we've talked about those universities up and down the country, some of which offer a logistics and supply chain course, so you can study for a BSc in logistics and transport, as an example at Aston Uni. What about people who are thinking, I'm not sure I'm committed to that as a degree path yet? Are there related degrees that people can then use to get into logistics?
Yes, so in the last few months, we have opened up the Novus programme to include all undergraduate degrees. So whether you are studying HR or you are doing business management or you're doing in psychology, I've got students on those degrees. And that's because really, if we're looking at large logistics companies, they don't just do logistics supply chain operations. They will have a HR department. They might be looking at cyber security. So they might be looking for data analysts. There's lots of different roles that you can do within the logistics industry. They don't just have to be logistics roles. So hopefully that's a nice way of being able to get students within the industry to fill the roles that we really need to fill to make sure that the industry carries on going and the UK carries on working.
That is exactly it. We've talked about that throughout Generation Logistics Week, about that depth and breadth of jobs, HR, finance, cyber, digital, operations, and of course that skills shortage, the fact we need more people being a real opportunity for the young people watching to come in and to make a really good career for themselves. So absolutely brilliant to hear what Novus is doing, and are really worth checking out novus.uk.com to be able to find out all about the opportunities there with placements, mentoring, guest lectures, lots of things to get your interest in logistics and supply chain even higher than it has been this week. But of course, university isn't the only route, as we've heard from lots of young people this week, and the Fairy Job Mother can tell us more.
3 career options you need to consider other than university. Option number 1, apprenticeships. They're available to anyone over the age of 16 and allow you to gain hands-on experience while studying for a qualification without the debt. Option 2, internships. Internships are a short-term work experience opportunity offered by a company to allow students to experience a particular industry. And option 3, standard entry-level roles. These are roles designed for young people to get stuck into work straight away and work their way up a company. And unlike apprenticeships, they don't usually involve studying for a specific qualification.
So apprenticeships, degree apprenticeships. We've heard lots of case studies this week from young people who have done those pathways, and they are dynamic pathways into the logistics sector, suitable for a huge range of educational backgrounds. There's traditional apprenticeships like level 2 supply chain and warehouse operative, level 3 international freight forwarding specialists, and all of those apprenticeships combine hands-on experience with at least 20% classroom learning. So that might be 1 day a week, 4 days you are on the job. They lead to nationally recognised qualifications, exactly like a degree route gives you a degree. You can do degree apprenticeships, you can do apprenticeships that get you that qualification at the end. There's degree apprenticeships, degrees, apprenticeships, and direct entry across all of those different job families that we've talked about, and lots of different routes in, which can be quite overwhelming. But a really good place to start is the gov.uk website for apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships, the Novus website for looking people that might want to take that graduate route. But if you find the thing that's right for you, regardless of what that thing is, there are several things that you will have to, several hoops, shall we say, that you will have to jump through, regardless of the route that you choose. So things like needing a CV, having an interview, or perhaps an assessment centre, which when I was looking at what career I might do and what those routes might be, that was the thing that struck fear into my heart, was an assessment centre. It might be something that you've heard about at school or at college, but Zara's going to tell us a little bit more about what an assessment centre is and what to expect, because they're quite popular now, aren't they, as a way of screening applicants.
Yes, extremely. So they usually take place in person. So it may be that you might have a slightly less formal interview beforehand as a screening, and then you may be invited to the actual campus or the place where your work would actually be taking place. Usually they will be across a full day. You would probably expect a presentation. You would have been given the title either in advance, or some of them like to just like give you the presentation title on the day, give you a bit of time to go away, figure it out, and then come back and present what your findings were. So you'd usually be presenting to maybe one or two assessors to see how you've done with your presentation. A lot of them will also have then a formal interview. Many of these will look at competency-based questions. So tell me about a time where you worked well as part of a team. What was the outcome? Or tell me about a time where you did something at work and it didn't go to plan. What was the outcome? So the best way of answering those type of questions is to use the STAR technique. So to ensure that you're answering it in full, you want to talk about the situation. So what was the situation? Was it that you were at university? Were you at college, a part-time job? What were you doing? And then you want to talk about the task. So what was the task that you had to do? What was the problem at hand and how are you going to solve it? So you've got the S, the T, and then the A. So the A is for action. What did you do? Now, I always say with action, when you are talking about the action within an interview, we want less we, more me. So less we as a team achieved this, it's more me. What did I do within the team to help achieve the outcome? The last point is to then look at result. So what was the result? If you can give a quantitative amount, then it's really good. So try and add in some numbers. What percentage grade did you get? Was it 70%, or what was it? Did you raise some money? How much money did you raise? So giving that outcome really helps to sum up your answer. But I always like to add on a little bit onto the end. So a bit of a learning outcome. So you can add an L onto the end of that. And that could be, if I was to do this again, this is what I would perhaps do differently to increase the outcome. So that's nice because it shows that you've got self-reflection, that you're able to sit back, think about what you achieved and what you could have done better and what you will then do better in the future. So that's your competency-based interviews. You may have a role play. So a lot of companies will do a role play where you will maybe be a customer, or you'll be talking to a customer, or you will be a supplier. There will be a problem. How will you address the issues to come to a solution where all parties are happy? And then you may do a group exercise. So you might do a group exercise where there are a few of you. Again, you will be given a situation and a problem to solve. So one of the main things to do with this is to really understand what you are being asked, even if you need to take some quiet time just to read through it. If you suffer from dyslexia or anything like that, which means that you may take longer to read instructions, then make sure the company are aware of that beforehand so they can give you a bit of extra time. So understanding what it is that you need to achieve, and then there will usually be a discussion. You want to make sure that you are taking part in the discussion, but you don't want to talk just for the sake of talking. So you want to take some time, collect your thoughts, so the input that you are giving is a valued input and can show that you have thought about what you wanted to say. It's very hard in group exercises to give a balance. So you don't want to be overpowering the group, but you do want to show leadership skills. And you do want to show that you're taking time to think, but you don't want to appear too quiet. If you do have people that are quieter within the group, and maybe they're looking a bit nervous, it might be quite nice to ask them what their opinion is and bring them into the conversation, because that's always nice. And also, we'll always be looking for the timekeeper. So are you going to keep an eye on, oh, we need to have finished our discussion by this time. I think it's about time that we start to come to kind of some conclusions. So something like that, or you could be maybe the note keeper. So you're going to show what the reflections are because you've written them down at the end of it. So that is all valuable. There may be things like debates where you are given a topic and one of you has to give your opinions for the statement and one of you has to give the opinions against the statement. So it's worth thinking about the kind of things that you will be given in an assessment centre. But yeah, those are kind of your main things. So interviews, usually competency based, but you can get strength based as well. Strength based will be looking at your personality type to see what kind of roles would fit you best. You've got interviews, you've got group exercises, debates, you may have an in-tray. It may be that maybe you are having to write, I've done one before where I had to create a press release, or you have to write an email to your customers. How are you going to write that in a professional manner? So there can be multiple things, but usually the employer will tell you in advance what to expect and when things will be happening. Quite a few employers now use psychometric testing. Now, even that word psychometric can be really, really scary and really intimidating. And I'm not going to lie, they can be hard, but practice really does make perfect. So have a look at what your colleges and your schools have on offer to help you. Have a look online because there's always plenty of resources where you can access free tests just so you can practice. A lot of it comes down to timing. And again, if you have any issues, which means you take longer to read or to process information, make sure the employer is aware of that so they can give you the allocated time needed.
And that's what it comes down to, I think. You know, all these things sound really, really hard and there's a lot to think about, but it is about taking your time and looking at the help that you've been given, whether that's people at school or college, whether that's what's available online, whether that's running through some answers with a friend or with an adult. Practice. You can't over practice, I don't think, when it comes to this kind of thing. And for me, it helps me to feel less nervous if I know what's coming. You might not be able to know exactly what that task is going to be, but you can think about your own strengths. You can think about where you might fit in a group or polishing up your presentation, and then feeling prepared does overcome some of those nerves. And I think if I had a big tip from my time working in careers, nerves aren't necessarily a bad thing. They show that you care. And if you come in without any nerves, it can, you can come across as a little bit blasé. So it's okay to be nervous. It shows how much you want something. So there is a balance, as Zara said, but preparation really does help. And back to thinking about all those different skills, there's no right or wrong. Zara talked us through the group exercise. Who you are in that group, all of those people are valid and needed in logistics. We've got lots of different roles for lots of different skill sets. So you don't have to be outgoing, you don't have to be introverted, you don't have to be good at taking notes, you don't have to be good at sort of written communication. If there are lots of different roles that will fit lots of different people. So be yourself is a very trite thing to say, but you spent a lot of time at work. You want to make sure that it's the right company for you and you are the right company for it, because logistics isn't just a job. It can, if you want it to be, a career. And we're going to hear from Shoshana now about how to build a career in logistics, one that has some fantastic salaries attached.
Ooh. A determining factor for us all when looking for a new job is salary. Here's why logistics is a great option. Take starting as a warehouse operative, for example. You'll start on 18k in a fast-paced warehouse, unloading vehicles, checking stock and packing items. But in just 2 years, you could be earning 25k as a shift manager. And in 4 years, you'll be earning 38k as a warehouse manager, overseeing staff. And in 8 years, you'll be earning 55k as a regional manager. Skip to 16 years in, you could be earning over 100k as a national lead, overseeing packing and shipping in all warehouses across the country, all with no degree or formal qualification required.
So for those of us wanting to make 100k, and quite frankly, who doesn't, Zara, what tips have you got for people once they're in the logistics sector, whether that's direct entry, apprenticeship, degree apprenticeship, placement through the grad route? What would you say are some hints and tips for them thinking about how they can then progress?
I would say a great way of doing that is looking at the organisation from the bottom all the way up. So understanding how the organisation works. Don't be afraid to go down and go down to the warehouse and find out what they're doing and why they're doing it. What processes are in place and why are they in place? Is it just because that's the way it's been done, so we're not going to change it? Don't be afraid to question things. So I think that's one of the main things when young people do come into a role, they kind of feel too shy to ask, well, why do we do that? Don't do that, because it shows that you care and it shows that you've thought about things. And as I say, no question is a silly question. So ask the questions, but talk to the people as well. Talk to the people within the organisation and find out if there are gripes, if there are niggles, and then what could be done within the processes to alleviate those issues and therefore make the organisation work far more efficiently. Networking is always a great thing to do. So network with your colleagues. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, create a LinkedIn account. You can update it just using your CV information. So you can do it within 5 minutes. It's a copy and paste job. But when you are in your role, LinkedIn is essential. So add the people that you're talking to within your organisation, outside of your organisation, whether it's the customers or the service providers that you are working with. Build that relationship and talk to them about what it is that they do, again, so that you can understand what the organisation does and why, what is the industry doing. So those are a few tips. But yeah, talking to people that are also higher than you as well. If you can, try and find out if you could get a mentor. So if you could get a professional mentor within the organisation, that's a really nice opportunity to talk to people, someone that might be outside of your exact team. So again, you're building your network, you're understanding the awareness outside of your team, but then that's quite nice because you can have a really nice and honest conversation with that person. Also, talking to more senior people helps you establish what their career route was and what you could also do to gain that kind of senior position. And CPD is something you'll hear talk about quite a lot. So continuous professional development. So what are you doing when you are within an organisation to make sure that you are continuously learning and developing and thinking and analysing? So you can get CPD through within your organisation, but also we've got things like professional memberships. So we have like a CILT, so the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, where you can get student and graduate membership, but you can get CPD through CILT as well. So there are multiple routes where you can expand, but that's one of the good things, like never stop learning, because the industry never stops growing. Like if we'd have talked about cybersecurity and AI a few years ago, people would have been like, well, why is that relevant? Like, what is it? But why is it relevant to industry? So it's a continuously moving industry, and we want to be asking questions so that we can understand where we are going in the next 10, 15 years and how we can give ourselves a good foundation now to make sure we're successful then.
Definitely. Being curious. We've heard that all week. Logistics is staffed by lots of curious people wanting to make things better. And that networking point is so important. LinkedIn might be social media for old people, but it's where the old people are. The old people are going to be the ones that are going to give you the jobs. So finding out who they are, what they're doing, what their organisations are doing, that's kind of your one-stop shop to do that. So as Zara said, if you've not yet got a profile, well worth looking at doing that. Lots of help online to set that up as well. And organisations like CILT that provide things like events that you can go and meet people and do some physical as well as some virtual networking. There has been lots of information there. Hopefully it's all been really useful when you're thinking about a career in logistics. And thank you to Zara for your insights and helping us to explore all of those opportunities that there are out there to find your right career in logistics. If you are wanting to find out a bit more, career paths, salary information, it is all on the Generation Logistics website and in our careers booklet. Hopefully, over the course of this week, we have encouraged you to think of logistics as a fast-paced, innovative sector that plays a vital role in keeping the world moving. Cutting-edge technology, sustainability, and global operations. It's a career full of potential, variety, and purpose. This week, we've been looking At Careers, there is a virtual careers fair open. If you've not seen that already this week, please go and take a look. There's 30 companies in there, all showcasing their opportunities for young people. And hopefully that will give you another fantastic way to get a taste of the sector from wherever you are. So thank you to Zara again. Thank you to all the students for joining us and for being part of Generation Logistics Week. We hope we have sparked some exciting ideas for your future. Thank you.